Hey, what's up, everyone? Today, we're going to take a break from talking about marketing and business. We're going to talk about farming versus hunting. Nah, just kidding. We're not taking a break. We're going to talk about how you can utilize both farming and hunting to build a wildly successful business in the construction industry. And joining me today is a guy who's got a lot of strong thoughts on farming. Let's get into it with Farmer Tim. Welcome to another edition of the Nailed It Show with my good friend, business partner, Tim Conley, ContractorDynamics.com. What's up, Tim?
What's up, Joe? I am excited to be on here again. Let's talk about some marketing for roofing. Come on, son.
All right. So we're talking about roofing, but we first want to talk about farming. So why should roofing companies, roofing professionals, people that are building out their brands, companies that really want to dominate, why should they be thinking about farming? And what is farming?
That's a great topic. Let's get into what that really means. So there's two types of business owner, or just anyone who is generating revenue inside of a company. There's two types. There's the hunter and the farmer. The hunter is the salesperson. They see everything as an immediate kill. You either go out and get it today or you don't eat. Whereas a farmer sees, I need to nurture the land. I need to seed it. I need to fertilize it. I need to care for it. And then it's going to feed me in the future. So the two types of people who approach business and revenue generation in a business fall in one of those two biases. So they may have like some marketing bias, some farming bias, but their main go-to is hunting and sales, or they are mostly marketing and mostly being a farmer. But then they have to rely on hunting, every so often, because it takes a while for the crops to come in. So you still have to be able to eat. So people who have a marketing bias, a farming bias, might find themselves going, am I a hunter because I have to go out and make these sales? No, your main bias is towards the future, but everybody's got to eat. And so that's the real difference, is a farmer is looking at eating tomorrow, whereas a hunter is looking at eating today.
Really interesting way to put it. As you're talking about that, I'm thinking to myself, I am definitely a farmer. And it's interesting, side note here, that we named our son 8 years ago Hunter. So curious to see what he's going to turn out to be. But I am a farmer, and we also have sales guys on our team, so we have that balance. What is the ideal balance for a roofing company to have?
I don't think there really is a balance. I think you look at what your strengths are and try to supplement with the other. So if you're a farmer through and through, well, you're going to be hungry for a while. So you've got to develop some capacity inside your company to go out and hunt. Well, in the years that we've been working with roofing and the hundreds and hundreds of roofers that we've spoken with, we've not met one farmer. So I don't think that's going to ever be an issue in this particular industry, is telling people, you really need to go out and, bag a buck. You need to go out and do that. I don't think we have that problem. In this industry, we have essentially all hunters, and they suffer the same problems as other hunters, which is they go out, they get a kill, they're fed. But then they've got a while to go before they get the next kill and feed themselves again. So they really need to supplement that strength, the ability to go out and hunt, with farming, so that there is always something to hunt. Because there really isn't a balance, because you're not going to change your nature. Because hunters don't believe in farming. Farmers don't believe in hunting. They may supplement with it, but they don't ever really own it. The few people who ever do, who overcome their bias, end up building massive companies, end up building huge companies, and you can see them all around. You can see companies like Microsoft and Apple and GE and all those companies. They have the mix of sales and marketing. They've got them both tied together because they overcame the entrepreneur's prejudice, the entrepreneur's bias towards a particular thing.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And again, thinking about my own situation, I'm a farmer, I'm a marketing guy. What we've done at Contractor Dynamics is we focused on, and we always focus on, building and refining our selling system and building a sales team of people that are focused on hunting, so we can achieve that solid blend that we need to ensure that we always have a kill. For lack of a better term.
Right.
I was on the phone with a client yesterday, Tim, and he was. We were talking about the roller coaster, the selling and fulfilling, or selling and producing roller coaster. And this particular roofing company owner in Kansas City had a killer April. And we're recording this in May right now. So he had a killer month, sold a lot. I think he might have had a record month. And then, because they're a smaller company, he got focused on producing those jobs and managing the projects and managing the team. And they had a little bit of turnover, which is very typical. And we talked yesterday. He's like, "Hey, I need to rebuild my pipeline because I was busy producing those jobs. I wasn't selling, and now I need something to. We don't have any work right now, or we have some work, but not what I want." I was like, all right, well, you need to put in a farming system to make sure that you always have those opportunities in, whether you're out there hunting or whether you're out there managing a job, right?
Right. That is the exact example. That roller coaster is exactly what hunters go through. All sales organizations go through that because they're only focused on generating leads that close today. They're not worried about nurturing. They're not worried about watering the seeds. They're not worried about fertilizing. They're not worried about harvesting. All they're caring about is, do I get a lead today that will close today, or at least in the next week? Like, will they close that fast? If not, I don't care. Like a lead will come in and not be one of those people, and then they'll just let them go. And that lead is a seed. That person raised their hand for some reason. And just because your sales organization's designed to get the kill today, someone in your organization has to care about nurturing those leads so your hunters have something to hunt tomorrow.
Okay, so we talked about hunting and farming, hunting versus farming. There's going to be a lot of companies listening to this, a lot of people listening to this, and like, hey, I'm a hunter. I know how to hunt. That's my nature. What's the risk of that? Like, what's so bad about being a hunter?
Let's go outside of business and look at nature. As soon as predators hunt too much, they grow. Their pack gets bigger. Then they kill off all their prey, and then they all start to starve. And then a bunch of them die, and then then it allows the prey to come back, and their numbers to increase, and then the cycle starts all over again. The predators expand until they get too many of them, and they start to starve, and then it goes through that entire cycle. That may look like the person's business who's watching right now. Like, you may look at that and go, oh yeah, that's us. We grow, like we hire people, we bring on new contractors and stuff, and we're all like super busy. And then all of a sudden, we have to let that contractor go. We got to let that contractor go. Ooh, we're all the way down to our employees. We got to let employees go. And then it's like we're sitting around, we don't have enough food for the month. The one thing we have as humans is the ability to overcome nature. We know that if you just have a sales organization, you're always going to have feast and famine. If you build a farming system, if you build a marketing system into your company, you can always have food for the future. That allows a company to continue to grow and scale, as opposed to I can scale, shrink, scale, shrink, scale, shrink, and then hopefully you just don't shrink back to the original size. But a lot of those organizations, what happens is it's kind of like dieting, but in reverse, where when you're dieting, you lose a bunch of weight and you're like, oh, yay. But then you end up putting on more weight than when you started, right? And you just get fatter and fatter, and so it's in the reverse. They put on some fat, but they get skinnier each time they contract.
That makes a ton of sense because hunters experience that feast or famine in nature, and modern farming changed the world because now people had access to food 12 months a year instead of just those peak periods. So someone listening to this might be a hunter, maybe you're a farmer. Chances are you are a hunter, as we talked about. And maybe you're starting to see Tim's light a little bit. You're like, you know what? That makes some sense. I like what this guy's saying. Maybe I need to incorporate some farming into my business. How do I, what steps do I take? What is that? What do I do? I own a roofing company. I'm a hunter. I know that formula. I know I can knock on 100 doors and I can sell 2 roofs. I know that formula. That makes sense to me. Now you're talking about this whole farming thing. What are my next steps?
Next steps is to learn marketing. I know that sounds vague, but it's literally how I did it. So started my very first business, and it was a complete and utter failure. I had no idea what I was doing. So one of the things I realized is I needed to learn how to get a customer. So I spent a bunch of time learning sales, face-to-face selling. I went through a 5-week selling program. I cold called 500 numbers a day, selling face-to-face at people's kitchen tables. Then after that, I went and sold cars face-to-face to people for a couple of months. And just so I could learn what it took to actually close a sale with a human being, understand what they felt when they were going through a buying process. Then I realized, hey, this sucks. I can close a sale. I can't scale closing sales. I can't do it. All I can do is make one transaction, then another transaction, and another transaction. So it's how do I sell when I'm not there? That was the question that started my path and actually made me realize I was a farmer, not a hunter. Was that question, how do I make a sale without me being there? Sales organizations answer that question by saying, I'll just get more salespeople. And I answered it by looking to find out, how can I sell through print? How can I write words that sell for me? That led me to direct response marketing. So I studied direct response marketing and I studied copywriting so that I could learn how to take my face-to-face selling skills and turn it into an actual scalable sales system. That was my first move, was to do that, to go from selling to selling through words, selling through print, and that's how old I am. We actually sold through print, and now we sell through websites and email and things like that. So you are still writing those words, you're still crafting those words to be able to sell at scale, right? That's what you're after. Then, after you get a good understanding of direct response marketing, you can then step into branding, brand building. Because if you really want to grow a business beyond yourself, beyond your region, make it national, maybe even an international roofing company, then you have to learn how to do branding. Direct response marketing will hit its limit because it's like modified hunting. So sales will always keep you limited. Direct response marketing allows you to grow to a medium-sized organization. Branding will then allow you to become as big as you can possibly imagine.
We'll definitely have 2 additional episodes, one on direct response marketing, another one on brand building, and then probably a third one on brand response marketing, which is the combination of the two, which is a pretty deadly combination.
Yep.
So, okay, so your answer there was, I'm a hunter. I get this farming thing, need to learn marketing. But I'm already working 12 hours a day, wearing a lot of hats, running my company. What do I do? Like, how do I fit that in? How do I make that happen? Do I do it? Does my spouse do it? Do I hire someone to do it? Does my office admin do it? Like, what's the best approach there?
Yes. to all those things. It really comes down to how fast do I want it to happen. At the beginning of my career, I failed and I had a family. So I had to figure it out super fast. So I did what the military did to me, which was they educated me on a very complex topic in a very short amount of time. I became an environmental scientist from being a high schooler a few months before to being an environmental scientist 6 months later. That's what happens in the military. They can train you and turn you into an expert. So I figured I can do the same thing all on my own. I knew I needed to know how to get a customer, so I just filled my day with learning that. So learning it and practicing it. That's why I went through sales training programs that actually put me in front of real customers, where I sold to real people so that I could practice getting a customer at the same time. Then when I moved into direct response, I would study it, and then I would go to my friends and say, hey, I can write you an ad. Well, if you're already in business, you're going to study it, and then you're going to put it into action. So the faster you want it to happen, the less sleep you're going to get. Sorry, that's the answer. But if you've got the resources, you've got some money, you've got a little bit of time, and you can take that money and time and buy these resources. You can get a marketer to join your company. You can hire someone to be your marketing manager, and the two of you can work together to get the initial ball rolling, get the seeds planted in your company. You're going to have patience. You're going to have patience, and you're still going to have to work with them. You can't do like what we had with our old clients with our agency, which was, here's my money, go do magic. You can't do that in marketing. You can't do that in farming. That's essentially taking a big bag of seeds, pouring it on the ground, walking away and going, oh, farming doesn't work. And so a lot of you are hearing this or watching this and saying, there's no way. I don't have the time. So your main thing that you've got to do is get off the truck. You've got to get off the roof. You've got to stop being in the field and find a way to be in the office. If you're out in the field, you are working in your business, not on it. You're not able to actually put a farming system into place. You're going to always have feast and famine if you're out in the field. So if you're wanting to make this shift, the first place you probably need to invest, if you can't find the time of your own, is to invest in getting you fired from the field. Fire yourself from being out in the field. Put someone else in that place so that you can be in the office growing your company.
So true. It's got to be so important to you that you prioritize it, right? It's, we don't have time for a lot of things, but we do prioritize what's important. So this pain of going through the roller coaster and going through that cycle constantly has got to be so deep that you're willing to make it happen. Or the pain of just being at this level and wanting to be up here and you're not getting there, that pain needs to be there. That desire needs to be there so strongly that you're like, you know what, I'm going to make it happen. The end result is that a marketing system has to be built out in my company, or that's a combination of me, someone I hire, someone that's already in-house. That thing has to get done. So like Tim said, like you said, you need a way to get yourself freed up from some of those other things that you're doing. Maybe audit your time, take an honest look at what you're doing with your time and create that time. Even if it's just a few hours a week to start, it's going to make a big difference, because most of your competitors are not even thinking about this. So even just a few weeks can really make a huge difference, right?
Yes, it can. And then the longer you can nurture that, the better your organization will be in the future.
Let's tie this together, Tim. So we're talking about hunting, we're talking about farming. How does and we're going to probably have a whole episode on this because it's such a good topic, a valuable topic. How does your farming help your hunters?
So for any hunters out there, actual hunters, like I grew up hunting and fishing. Most states, this is illegal, but deer love corn. So if you are in the woods near a cornfield, you're probably going to find deer, right? Because they're out there eating the corn that the farmer has planted. That's the best metaphor I got. Or if you like fishing, like also same thing with fishing, having a pond, stocking the pond. The fish farmer is stocking the pond. The fisherman, essentially a hunter, casts out there. Oh, look at that! The pond's full of fish, right? That is exactly how it works. Like farming feeds an environment. It doesn't just feed the end consumer, it feeds all the little critters around it. So it brings in and can feed a whole bunch more, and then it allows hunters to come in and just, pick them off.
All right, so we're talking about deer, we're talking about fishing, we're talking about comparing farming and hunting to dieting and making changes and things like that. So if you're watching this right now, then you understand the importance of this. You need to make that shift to make it happen. One of the things that Tim mentioned before is that he invested in sales training programs, which I think is a fantastic idea. I know many of you listening and watching have done that. I think it would be pretty amazing if there was actually a marketing training program, right?
Yeah, that'd be great. I think I think there might be one. A company called Contractor Dynamics or something.
What a great idea! So get yourself trained up on marketing, whether it's on Google, whether it's with us, whether it's going to Facebook Blueprints. There's a ton of different resources out there. How do you want to wrap this one up, Tim? What are some tangible action steps that people can take that are looking to make this transition?
I'd rather leave people with a mindset. Because there's a lot to go through. So I'd rather they walk away with this mindset. A hunter feeds today. A farmer feeds the future. Hunters can feed a village. Farmers can feed the world.
Wow. So think about that as you're going to sleep tonight. Think about that as you're in your office. Think about that as you're in your truck, maybe driving to a job site, which you need to stop doing. But think about that over the next couple of days and get into that mindset, because all the tactics in the world are not going to help you if your frame of mind is not there, and if your mindset doesn't align with your vision and your goals that you have for your company. So that's a wrap on our hunting versus farming discussion. Hopefully that provided a ton of value. We'll be following up this episode with several more, diving into those specific tactics on what you can do to build out that farming system in your roofing company. Talk to you soon.